Hi, I'm Jake, 32, and last month I made what I thought was the grandest peace offering in family history. I gifted my parents a fully restored, candy apple red 1964 Porsche 356C. It was $300,000 of gleaming, nostalgic horsepower. I bought it to Reconnect. Instead, they handed the keys to my little brother Tyler before I ever got to drive it. It started with a phone call from my dad in late September. His voice had that brittle politeness it always carried when he was feeling guilty but trying to pretend otherwise. "Hey son," he said. "Your mom and I were just talking, and well, the holidays are coming up, maybe we all get together this year." That was code. Code for, let's forget the last 3 years like they didn't happen. Like we didn't scream at each other on the sidewalk after mom accused your ex-wife of being a gold digger. Like we didn't stop speaking after you said you were done funding Tyler's startups disguised as pyramid schemes. But whatever. I was tired of the Cold War. Tired of birthdays where I mailed cards instead of showing up. So, I decided to do something big. Stupidly big. My dad used to tell stories about a Porsche 356 he had to sell in the 80s after Tyler was born. How he used to take mom out in it on Friday nights, just the two of them, roof down, jazz playing, her hair flying. So I tracked down the same model. Had it restored by a guy in Oregon. Flawless paint, original interior, brand new clutch. It cost me more than my townhouse. But when I saw it, parked in my garage under museum lighting, I imagined the look on Dad's face. I even got a custom plate. FMLI 356. Subtle enough not to be cringe, sentimental enough for a Christmas card. Thanksgiving morning, I drove the Porsche 3 hours to my parents' place, tucked it in the driveway under a silk cover, and rang the doorbell like a UPS driver. Mom opened it, mascara already perfect, coffee in hand. "Jake," she said, startled. "We thought you were in New York this week?" "I was. Came back early." I smiled. "Got something for you both." Dad came out in his robe, looked at me like I was selling him a Bible. "What's this about?" "I figured it was time we tried again," I said. "And I figured you'd want to start by driving your old Porsche again." The moment I pulled off the cover, they both froze. Mom actually put her hand to her mouth. Dad walked around the car twice like it was a resurrection. He didn't say thank you. He didn't say a word for 30 seconds. Then finally, "She's perfect." It was the first time he'd looked at me like that in years. We took photos. Dad even got misty-eyed. I could see Mom already composing the Instagram post in her head. "I can't believe you did this," she kept saying. "Yeah," I said, smiling like an idiot. "Well, I figured it was time to put the past behind us." Cut to 11 a.m. the next day. I'm drinking coffee on their porch when I hear the engine rev. That unmistakable snarl of vintage European glory. I run out barefoot. And there's Tyler. Behind the wheel. Wearing my dad's driving gloves. "Look what they let me do, bro!" He shouts over the engine. "This thing's insane." Then he floors it. Down the street. One tire screeches. I just stood there. Mouth dry. "Why is Tyler driving the Porsche?" I asked. Mom waved her hand like I was being ridiculous. "He just wanted to take it around the block. You know how much he loves cars." "Yeah," I said slowly. "And motorcycles. And jet skis. And 6-month business ventures that all end in debt collectors." Dad finally looked at me, jaw clenched. "He's just test driving it. Relax. I bought that car," I said. "For you. Both of you. As a gift. A symbol. I haven't even driven it yet." Dad shrugged. "You gave it to us, Jake. It's not yours anymore." When Tyler came back 20 minutes later, he was beaming like he just won a game show. "This baby moves," he said. "Handles way better than that Lotus I wrecked." I didn't answer. I just turned around and walked inside. That night I couldn't sleep. Not because I was angry, though I was, but because I felt like a fool. I'd been played. Again. And I wasn't sure if I was more furious with them. Or with myself. I left before sunrise. Didn't say goodbye. Didn't pack the pie Mom insisted I take. Just grabbed my duffel bag, tossed it in the trunk of my Camry, and drove 3 hours back to the city in silence. Spotify tried to play jazz. I shut it off. By the time I got home, I'd already rewritten the whole Thanksgiving disaster 20 different ways in my head. In version 1, I calmly explained to my parents that letting Tyler drive the car before me was a slap in the face. In version 7, I keyed, "I bought this," into the hood and handed them the repair bill. In version 19, I just never spoke to them again. Simple. Cold. Efficient. But real life? Real life is messier. Because just as I tossed my keys on the counter and sat down to nurse my wounded pride, my phone buzzed. It was a family group text. Look who's behind the wheel of the Porsche, smiling face with heart eyes, red heart, #bonding time. And there he was. Tyler. Again. This time with my dad in the passenger seat, both of them grinning like idiots, driving through wine country. That's when it hit me. They'd taken it on a road trip. Without telling me. I didn't even know they knew how to take the damn roof down. But there they were, wind in their hair, not a care in the world, like some vintage ad for rich retirees with no conscience. They'd left that morning. I left a few hours before, and by the time I got home, they were already in Napa. I texted back. Me. Cool. Hope you both enjoy the car I bought. No reply. I waited. An hour. 2. Then. Dad. Jake. Don't make this a thing. That was it. No apology. No explanation. Just that patronizing tone he's mastered since I was 12 and grounded for borrowing the Corolla without asking. That's when I finally called him. I didn't care that he was sipping Cabernet on some terrace with a view. Hey, I said. Hope the wine's good. A pause. Jake. Look. Was I wrong to assume I'd get to drive the Porsche before Tyler? Silence. I bought that car for you. Not so Tyler could cosplay as Steve McQueen. My dad exhaled, the way he always did when he was trying not to lose his temper but definitely already had. You gave us a gift. You don't get to dictate how we use it. Dad, it wasn't a blender. It was a $300,000 vintage car tied to your life story. I gave it to you because I wanted to reconnect, to do something meaningful. And it was meaningful. To us. Then why does Tyler have more miles on it than either of you? His voice dropped. Because he needs it more right now. I blinked. He needs, what? A $300,000 sports car? What, is the buzz too traumatic? He's been struggling, Jake. He's got a lot on his plate. And there it was. Again. Tyler was always struggling. Jobless at 24? Jake, help your brother. Got scammed trying to flip NFTs? Jake, maybe loan him rent money. Rear-ended a Tesla while texting his ex? Jake, don't be heartless. I was sick of being the designated fixer. This Porsche was supposed to be something untouchable. But no. Tyler got the keys. Tyler got the ride. Tyler always got the benefit of the doubt. So I said it. You know what? Keep it. Let him drive it into a ditch for all I care. My dad didn't answer. I'm done, I said. Don't expect me for Christmas. Or anything else. Then I hung up. The next morning, I got an email from Haggerty Insurance. Subject: ownership change request pending. Attached was a form, half-filled, with my dad's name listed as the primary owner. He was transferring the title. I stared at the screen, heat crawling up my neck. Tyler's name was listed underneath as secondary. They were officially making it his. I called the insurance company and froze the change. Told them I was the sole owner. They asked if there was a dispute. I said, "Oh, you have no idea." Then I drove straight to Napa. Not to talk. Not to fight. I was going to take my damn car back. When I pulled up to the little rental house my mom had tagged on Instagram, the Porsche was in the driveway, still gleaming, still perfect, sun hitting that candy red paint like it was mocking me. Tyler was sitting in a lounge chair, shirtless, beer in hand, socks and slides. He looked like a guy who just inherited something he didn't earn and knew he wouldn't be held accountable for breaking it. "Oh, hey, bro," he said like we were best friends. I didn't respond. I walked right past him to the car. "Whoa, what are you doing?" He stood. "Opening my car," I said. He laughed. "Come on, man. Dad said I could borrow it for the weekend." "Cool. And I'm saying I'm done playing the family idiot. I got in, started the engine. God, that sound. It purred. It growled. It reminded me why I bought it in the first place. And how stupid I was to think I wouldn't have to fight for my own boundaries. Tyler tried to stand in front of it. Seriously? You're just going to take it? I revved the engine slightly. He stepped back. Tell Dad the title's still in my name. He can call me if he wants to talk. Then I pulled out of the driveway and drove off. And you know what? It felt amazing. But the fallout? That was just getting started. I should have known it wouldn't end with me driving away. 2 hours after I reclaimed the Porsche, I was back in my apartment, watching the car through the window like it was a hostage I'd rescued. I was still shaking, not from adrenaline, from clarity. That drive home had done something to me. I finally saw it for what it was. They didn't want reconciliation. They wanted leverage. And I'd just taken it back. Then my phone buzzed. Not a call. Not a text. A calendar invite. Subject: family meeting, Sunday 3 p.m., non-negotiable. From Mom. Location: their house. I stared at it like it had teeth. 30 seconds later, another text arrived. Please don't make this harder than it has to be. Harder for who, exactly? Sunday afternoon, I parked the Porsche directly in front of their house. No driveway. No humility. Tyler's Corolla was already there, backed in, as always, like he thought it made him look tactical. Inside, it was like walking into a low-budget intervention. Mom sat perched on the armrest of the couch, arms crossed. Dad stood by the fireplace, drink in hand, not making eye contact. Tyler was sitting in the recliner, my old recliner from college, twirling a vape like it was a baton. Shake, Mom said stiffly. Sit. No thanks. I'll stand. You've made quite a mess, Dad said. Still no eye contact. Oh, did I? Sorry, I thought reclaiming the gift I bought made me the victim of the mess. Tyler jumped in. Dude, it's just a car. You're acting like I took your kidney. No, I said. If it were my kidney, I imagine you'd be trying to sell it on Facebook Marketplace by now. Mom sighed sharply. Jake. Enough. I turned to her. I gave you both that car. You made it his. Without asking. Without even acknowledging how that might make me feel. She didn't flinch. We thought it was a symbolic gift. That it meant you were part of the family again. So we made a symbolic gesture back. By handing it to Tyler. She raised her chin. He's going through a hard time. He needed a win. That's when it hit me. This wasn't about me at all. Not the car. Not the gesture. Not the years of distance. They hadn't missed me, they missed the version of me that could afford to fix everything. And the Porsche? That wasn't reconciliation. That was currency. I get it now, I said. You saw the Porsche as an asset. Something Tyler could show off. Something you could use as proof that Jake's finally over it. My dad's jaw tightened. You're twisting this. Am I? I pulled out my phone and opened my email. Because I've got a copy of the title transfer you tried to file without telling me. Silence. I froze it. I added. Also filed a fraud claim. Guess who they'll side with? The guy whose name is on the pink slip. Tyler stood up, face red. You're blowing this way out of proportion. No, I said. I'm finally treating this in proportion. You don't get to play fast and loose with my money anymore. None of you do. Mom stepped forward, voice cold. Jake, if you leave this room right now, you're cutting yourself off from this family. I stared at her. No, Mom. You already did that. You just used Tyler to do it. And then she said it? 5 words that took everything from passive betrayal to open war. We should have given it to Tyler outright. At least he visits. I blinked. Even Tyler froze. Dad opened his mouth to object, and said nothing. At that moment, I knew this wasn't just about the Porsche. It was about years of being treated like the bank with boundaries. Of being punished every time I stepped back. Of watching Tyler screw up again and still being the golden child because he showed up with flowers on Mother's Day and called more than twice a year. And now they wanted his loyalty paid in my dollars. I stepped back toward the door. I came today to see if there was any part of you that understood how badly you'd handled this, I said. Instead, you doubled down. You made it clear, love, for you, is measured in proximity and obedience. I opened the door. So here's my symbolic gesture. Mom's face fell. Don't you dare. I didn't respond. I walked out, climbed into the Porsche, and drove away. But I didn't go home. Not yet. I drove to a notary. Changed the title. Filed it under a new LLC I set up that afternoon. Owner. FMLY 356, LLC. Primary use business asset. That night, I posted a listing on a local car-sharing platform. High-end only. With one requirement. $2,000 per day to rent, unless your last name is Miller. In which case, you're permanently banned. The post went viral. And the next day? Tyler showed up at my office. Drunk. Tyler showed up at my office at 11:52 a.m. on a Tuesday. He was wearing a wrinkled bomber jacket, last night's sweatpants, and that crooked, drunk, humble smirk he always wore before asking for something he absolutely did not deserve. He smelled like Red Bull and bad decisions. Dude, he slurred, arms flung open like we were long-lost war buddies. We gotta talk. He tried to shoulder past reception. Thankfully, Carla, my absolute legend of an office manager, stood up like she was guarding a VIP section in a nightclub. Do you have an appointment? I'm his brother, he said, swaying slightly. I own appointments. Carla deadpanned. I don't see nepotism on the calendar. I heard the commotion from my office and stepped out. I took one look at Tyler and knew exactly what was coming. How much this time? I asked. Tyler blinked like I'd slapped him. I'm not here for money, he said. Okay, I said. How much forgiveness, then? Carla glanced at me. I nodded. She backed off but didn't sit down. Tyler followed me into my office and immediately collapsed into the chair across from my desk like a man in an airport lounge waiting for a delayed flight. So, he said, rubbing his face. You really listed it? I raised an eyebrow. The Porsche, he clarified. You actually put it up for rent? With that description. Bro, it's everywhere. TikTok. Threads. There's a meme of Mom's face next to the listing. It says, when your ungrateful son won't let you exploit him anymore. Accurate, I said. He leaned forward. Do you have any idea what this is doing to Mom? To Dad? Do you have any idea what you did to me? I replied. You knew what that car meant. You knew why I gave it to them. And you took it like it was just another thing to add to your collection of broken toys. He looked wounded. Like he hadn't expected me to still be this mad. I didn't steal it. You drove it before I did. They said it was okay. Of course they did. Because in this family, the rules exist to serve you. Tyler stood up, finally angry. You think you're better than all of us because you made it out, because you can afford shiny things now. No, I said. I think I'm different. I stopped letting guilt be my leash. That landed. He dropped back into the chair, suddenly quieter. Then he pulled out the envelope. I hadn't expected that. He slid it across the desk like it was nuclear material. What is it? I asked. Dad's solution, he said bitterly. They want to buy the car from you. I opened it. Inside was a cashier's check. $175,000. Not even full value. They lowballed me? They think you'll take it if it means ending this circus. I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was so on brand. Underpay, over control. My dad in a nutshell. What happens if I say no? Tyler sighed. They go public. They make you the villain. Dad's already calling lawyers. He says if the gift was made with intent to give up ownership, the car's technically theirs. He's going to sue me? Tyler shrugged. Wouldn't be the first time he threatened legal action over a holiday gift. Remember the snowblower thing with Aunt Liz? That was true. But this wasn't about a snowblower. I still own the title. I can prove I paid for the car. The LLC paperwork is airtight. I know, Tyler muttered. Which is why he's pivoting to emotional damage. I blinked. What? He says you embarrassed him publicly? That the listing defamed him. That people in their country club are whispering. So? So, he wants you to apologize. Take the listing down. Return the car to them as originally intended. And they'll forgive the whole misunderstanding. I stared at my brother. You drove the Porsche first. You helped them try to transfer ownership without asking me. And now they want me to apologize? He rubbed his face. I know how this sounds. Do you? Look, man, he said, softening. I get it now, okay? I screwed up. You did something beautiful, and we treated it like a transaction. I shouldn't have touched that car. I shouldn't have smiled for the photos. I shouldn't have acted like it was mine. It was the closest thing to a real apology I'd heard from him since we were kids. But, he added, I can't fix Mom and Dad. You know that. All I can do is ask. Is there a version of this where we don't all burn the house down? I sat with that for a long second. Then I said, yeah. There's a version. His eyes lit up. But it involves you showing up to the next family dinner and telling them what you just told me. Every word. He froze. You want me to confess? No, I said. I want you to own it. I want them to hear the truth from the person they always cover for. Because until that happens, there's no we in this. There's me. And there's all of you. He looked away. I'm not doing this for you, I said. I'm doing it for me. Because I'm done being the responsible one who also gets treated like the stranger. Tyler stood. I'll think about it. No rush, I said. The listing's not going anywhere. He opened the door. Carla raised one eyebrow at him on the way out. Nice jacket, she said, dry as sand. Looks like you slept on a city bench. Tyler mumbled something unintelligible and disappeared into the elevator. That night I got a text from my mom. Mom, you humiliated us. I hope you're proud. I didn't respond. Instead, I sent a reply to the email with the check offer. Subject: Porsche buyback proposal. Reply: Respect isn't for sale. Declined. But I did do one more thing. I raised the rental price to $3,000 per day. And the first person to book it? A guy named Alan. My dad's old business partner. He left the following comment. Tell Harold I said hi. This car's in better hands now. The last dinner was supposed to be a peace offering. Tyler called me that morning, voice tight. I'm doing it tonight. Everything we talked about. I didn't believe him, until I saw the look on his face when I walked into our parents' house. Pale. Jaw clenched. A man walking into his own sentencing. We sat at the table like a jury. Dad carving roast beef with Olympic focus. Mom passing mashed potatoes like a hostage negotiator. Then Tyler cleared his throat. I need to say something. Forks froze. My mom's eyes flicked to Dad like stop him. But Tyler kept going. I screwed up. Jake gave you both that car to reconnect. And I helped ruin it. I drove it first. Smiled for photos. Tried to claim it. That wasn't mine to touch. Silence. I let you use me to take something that wasn't yours. He added, voice shaking. And I'm done being the golden kid just because I say yes to you. My mom's mouth opened, but Tyler held up a hand. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm asking for honesty. We don't treat Jake like family. We treat him like a resource. And then he did it. He pulled out a folder. Receipts. Printouts of text messages between him and our dad, about transferring the title. About making it official before Jake changes his mind. About strategically posting photos to soften public optics. Dad looked stunned. You were going to forge my name. I said, not even surprised, just hollow. I panicked. Dad said quietly. We didn't think you'd want to keep it. You didn't ask. That was the last real thing I said before standing up and leaving. I didn't slam the door. I didn't burn bridges. I just drove away in the Porsche. It's been 3 months. The car's no longer for rent. I drive it on Sundays with the top down and jazz playing, alone. Peaceful. Tyler? He's still figuring himself out. But he sends me photos now. Photos of receipts. Rent payments. Credit card balances at 0. He's trying. My parents haven't called. I think they're waiting for me to apologize to them. But I won't. I gave them something beautiful. They gave it to someone else. I took it back. And for once, I didn't feel guilty.